Hi, this is Dr. Chynn. I'm the owner of Park Avenue LASEK. It's a laser vision correction center in Manhattan on Park and 25th. We're LASEK because it's a non-cutting procedure that can fix people who can't have LASIK and also can fix LASIK complications.
Is that good?
Yes. Okay, don't move. And try to...
So you can see Elvis has a speculum in his eye, so he's on number, he's on diet.
Can we stop here over 26 seconds? Or now?
The reason I decided to do laser vision correction is I was always very, very nearsighted, and I was interested in, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, having a procedure where you didn't need to wear glasses or contacts for the rest of your life was almost like miraculous. Yeah. Now there's been, I think, 30 million Americans who've had it done, so it's a little bit less miraculous, but still it's really cool, and I always wanted to do it myself, so that's why I specialized in it. And I was actually the first doctor in New York City to get lasered himself, so that's like one of my claims to fame.
All right, look straight, don't move your head. Don't move around. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the center, okay? All right, so just like that. Yep. Just look straight. Look at the staring at the light.
The reason I decided to switch from LASIK to LASEK, this is about 15 years ago, after I did about 5,000 LASIKs. So I started doing this about 20 years ago, and then I did LASIK for about 5 years, and then I decided to switch because some of my patients and myself had night glare. That's because you have a two-piece cornea after you put the flap back and you have some glare off of the flap interface. And some of us also had dry eyes, and that's because when you cut the flap, you cut the corneal nerves. It causes dry eyes because it actually decreases the blink rate. There's no clock in your brain telling you to blink. It's also the subconscious sensation of dryness. So if you cut the nerves and you don't have as many nerves, you're relatively anesthetic, and then you don't blink as often. So you're kind of staring your eyes dry. So after LASIK, sometimes surgeons will tell the patients just try to blink more often, which is clearly stupid because you're not going to consciously blink a million times a day. So that's one of the reasons I switched. So the newer procedure, the LASIK, is non-cutting. It doesn't cause dry eyes. It doesn't cause night glare. But the recovery takes longer. So instead of 1 or 2 days, it's really 3 or 4 days, plus you got to keep your eyes closed. So those are the main differences between the procedures.
William Chris Watson got hit in the eye with the point of a football almost 20 years ago. He lost his vision, and over time, his eye has changed color, something that's made Chris feel relatively insecure. So he's been hoping for a change, and that change has finally arrived. A team of talented individuals at Park Avenue LASEK in New York City have tattooed a color-matched iris and pupil to Chris's eyeball.
The eye tattoo, first of all, we're mostly doing blind people, so we're not putting their vision at risk because they're blind. It's really people with like really, really, really bad trauma, and sometimes you see people walking around, they have like a totally white eye, and they either can't wear a contact lens because it doesn't fit well, or a lot of times their motivation to put one in every day might not be that high because they're blind, okay? So in that case, we kind of tattoo a picture of an eyeball on their eyeball, like a little iris and a little pupil, and we usually color match it. It's pretty cool. In terms of the eye jewelry, I have these platinum implants that I got from Holland. They're designed for the eye. They're not just pieces of jewelry, and they have a little curvature. And I guess I wanted to be clear with people that the risk of blindness in that one is 0 also, because it doesn't go in the eye. It just goes on top of the white part of the eye, outside of the eye. There's a little clear skin on top of the white part. I just make a little pocket and I put it in there, and it doesn't even require a stitch, and a couple days later it's fine. You want to cover up your eye that we didn't laser and just look at the other eye?
Yes, sir?
Yeah, so you can open your eyes. Come here. Come here. Brett, you want to get up? Here, come on. Here, get up. Ooh. Come on. Up, up, up. Up. Good boy. See that? See that? Good boy. Okay, Rhett, you want to say hi? Okay, so I met Rhett. Well, I met Rhett probably 7 years ago or something like that, and he's actually the dog of my ex-girlfriend. She got him for her son. So he was supposed to, well, he was his, so I dated Sherry about 20 years ago, and she got married and she got divorced. They had a child, and this is Ollie's dog. So But then, you know, kids grow up and they don't have time and they get busy with like sports and stuff like that. So basically he didn't really have time for Rhett, and he's like a really sensitive dog. So, because, you know, Nicholas knows him and he's friends with him, and he's been to some of his birthday parties. He's really sweet, but he's really sensitive. So I think he was a little bit depressed. And then I had a dog, and he died. Actually, the girl I was dating at the time gave him some grapes, and I didn't know this, so it wasn't really her fault. It was just an accident, but he went into renal failure, and the dog died. So I was like really depressed. And you know, when you have a dog and he dies, you're not ready for another dog right away because you're just, you know, upset. So I tried to get a dog, but I wasn't ready for a dog. So she said, hey, you know, Ollie's got Rhett, and he's kind of busy with high school and sports. He's kind of not having any time, and Rhett's not very happy because he needs a lot of attention, and you're not ready for a dog yet. So she said, why don't you just borrow Rhett for a month, and you guys can play with each other and cheer each other up, and then you could just give Rhett back. And I was like, that's a good idea. So that's what I did, and then I gave Rhett back, and then she calls me up like maybe 2 days later and says, hey, you have to pick up the dog. I'm like, why would I have to pick up the dog? Is he like sick or something? And she said, no, he's lying by the front door whining and he won't leave. She's like, he wants to be with you. I said, well, he's kind of a big dog for New York, right? Because I had a corgi before, and he's like a little horse. So, but then he was really sweet, so I decided to take him, and you know, we're really, really, really good friends now. So he's my best friend. He's very, very loyal, very sweet, and you know, he's a very, very good dog. Right, right.
He's very nice. He's a therapy dog. Come here. Come here. Oh, stretching. Oh, he's stretching. Hi. Hi. Yes, you can pet him. He's very nice. Go to them.
So I guess I was walking Rhett in the street, and a model scout stopped us and said, hey, I'm doing a photo shoot for Valentino and Chelsea, and it's like a kind of fantasy shoot in a forest, and he kind of looks like a fantasy kind of creature. A lot of people say he doesn't really look like a dog. I've had a lot of people say he looks like the character in Never Ending Story. So, so I said, wait, I'd like your dog for the photo shoot. I was like, okay, it's fine. So we went up to the shoot, and they had all these gowns for the next season, and each one of the gowns is like $10,000, and they had like 10 of them, so it's like $100,000 worth of gowns. And actually, I was still friends with my ex-girlfriend who actually killed my former dog, but we're still friends. So she came to the shoot, and I remember she was looking at all the gowns, and she was like, oh my God, it's so amazing. And she asked the girl managing the gowns for Valentino, hey, would it be okay if I just touch the gowns to see like what they're made of and how they are? And the girl's like, no, you can't get within 10 feet of those gowns because they're not released yet. And then Sonia's like, yeah, but what about the dog? He's like all over them, he's slobbering, he's got his hair on them. She's like, no, he's the talent. It's really funny. So the shoot was good, and we had a good time, and I mean, I think Rhett got $1,000 for the shoot, and we donated it to ASPCA. So he's been in a bunch of shoots. He's been in a bunch of magazines. We get like 500 to 1,000 a shoot, and we donate it. So he's probably raised 3,000 or 5,000 just from fashion shoots. Recently, I went to Everest Base Camp, just really for a challenge. And I've been up to Kilimanjaro before, which is the, I guess he's a little tired. You tired, Red? Ooh. There we go. I went to Kilimanjaro, which is the highest mountain in Africa, and it's like a challenge. It was a good experience. It took about 3 weeks. You could spend about 2 weeks going up and 1 week going down. I've done marathons before. I rode my bike from Atlanta to New York. I would say it's one of the harder things just because it was really, really long and kind of cold, and it's very high up. By the time you're at Everest Base Camp, you're about 3 miles up, so it's difficult to breathe. But it's a good challenge, and the views are great, and the people are really nice, so I'm glad I did it.
So thanks a million, Elvis. Thank you for your help, and yeah, congratulations again. Keep your eyes closed. You're going to see better and better and better. Okay? Thanks, guys. Bye.
I think one of the things I'm most proud of is advancing the science for laser vision correction. I really think at Park Avenue LASEK we're known nationally for LASIK and being able to help people who can't get LASIK. I would say once a week or once every 2 weeks we're lasering somebody more than -9, which you can't do LASIK with. And normally when we laser these people and you set them up, they actually start crying when they look out and see how well they see. That's interesting. And I think I want to publish more about LASIK with my staff. We have 2 doctors with us right now who are MD PhDs, and we're doing some more research. And I'm trying to retire actually in the next few years, because I've done like 25,000 procedures, and I want to have more of a life because I'm working a little bit too hard. I don't have a great work-life balance, and I think that might be one of the reasons I'm still single. So I'm trying to like meet a nice person, get married, and have children, slow down a little bit. But I don't want to really retire clinically until I find someone else to take over the practice and keep the LASIK tradition alive.